Welcome back to Dash Explore. I'm Sarah and we just got back from our week-long family trip to Ireland late last night, and I am here to unpack all of the luggage that we brought with us so that you can see what we are so glad that we brought with us and the things that we really should have just left at home. So let's get to unpacking. All right, we are gonna start with the girls' backpacks. They are not super full right now, if you can't tell, but I've pretty much mostly unpacked them anyways because most of the things that were in here were their loveys and their blankets, and they put their souvenirs in here that they got, and then they carried their headphones, any other little toys that they could carry, and a notebook. And we used all of those things. They are the perfect size. Haley loved her new backpack. It is still a little stiff because she has just gotten it, so it was kind of uncomfortable on the really long travel days when we were just carrying it through the airport and the train station and through the town. Like, maybe not the most comfortable yet, but I'm sure once she breaks it in, it will be more comfortable. But overall, we really loved this, and she was still so excited. She added her 10th pin, her 10th country pin to her backpack. And she got lots of compliments and questions about it throughout the trip, so that was super cute to see. So overall, we were very happy with these backpacks, and we will keep using the system in our trips to come. All right, next up is my Foldie bag. And if you watched my Pack With Me video, we did not pack into this bag for the trip. This was folded up into my suitcase, and we just love traveling with this bag. It is super nice just in general. It's a very nice quality. The handles and then the shoulder strap. It also has this really nice front pocket, so if there's things that you needed easy access, you can just pop them right in here. This is also the pouch that it folds up into, so it ends up being about this big in your suitcase. And then the other best feature is that it has a bar for your suitcase handles to go through, and that just makes carrying it around so much easier. And one of the main reasons why we love this bag so much is we just packed it in all folded up in our suitcases to leave for our trip. And then once we were on the trip and we started buying souvenirs and food and all those other things, we threw them in here. So this bag is mostly just souvenirs. I bought some sheep yarn, and we bought the girls some books and just all kinds of other stuff. We also have my snack bag. So if you watch my Pack With Me video, this was in my backpack on the way there, and it was filled with goldfish and Cheez-Its and fruit bars and all different kinds of things. And now mostly what's in here is just leftover snacks of things that we bought while we were on the trip. So we did a really good job of eating snacks on this trip. We got to bring a couple of things home. There's really not much left, some chocolate and a couple of like cheesy crackers, but all of our food went in here as well. So overall, this is just a really nice size bag. And the perk is, if you saw, we had 3 suitcases and there are 4 of us, and we pay for 4 seats, so we can each carry on a bag. So by having this packed up in the suitcase on the way there, we aren't taking up all the space on the plane, but on the way home, we were able to bring it with us. We love this bag. Any kind of foldable duffel bag is very convenient when traveling. Okay, now we will get into my backpack. If you watch my Pack With Me, you will note that I don't have Andrew's backpack up here, and that's because he's pretty much unpacked it all already, but what he brought in there was mostly just his clothes anyways, and he had Delaney's tablet, and we used all of those things, so not really much of a note there. But I will also note here that this is probably the least full my backpack has ever been. I did have snacks in here on the way there, and like I've already mentioned, and I think I just have learned to not bring as much stuff on the trip, so it was very nice not having a completely stuffed full backpack. So one thing I will note before I get into the big part is gallon Ziploc bags. We used them on this trip. I was afraid that when we were riding on the back roads in Ireland, they are very windy, they are very narrow, that Haley was gonna get sick. We had some close calls on the bus ride to the Cliffs of Moher, but she was a trooper, she made it through. But in the last 10 minutes of our plane ride home, there was a lot of turbulence. She started to say her stomach didn't feel well, and we used Ziploc bags. And we used 2 of them for her being sick, and then we also were able to use one to put her dirty clothes on when we got off the plane. So if you have a child that gets motion sickness, definitely worth throwing some gallon Ziploc bags into your bag. You will not regret it. All right, let's open this up. All right, and then in here we have Delaney's sweatshirt. We left Ireland and it was maybe like 45 degrees, and we landed here in Virginia and it was 85 degrees. So we were all like stripping down all of our clothes. I also was able to throw my puffy coat in here in the airport. And then, so on the note of being sick, this came in handy. This is my bag that has a full change of clothes for both girls in it. So it has pants, shirt, underwear, socks, pretty much anything they could need. So I was able to easily grab this out of my backpack in the airport yesterday once we got off the plane and change Haley into some dry clothes for going home. So definitely recommend having changes of clothes for any kind of travel. Universal outlet adapters, love them. They worked great. Toiletries, no issues. You can see I've already kind of unpacked a little bit last night. And girls' toiletries, I don't think we have any regrets in here. Definitely important if you have little girls that need their hair brushed, bring a travel spray bottle of detangler. It makes such a difference. Tissues. I brought one of these things of tissues with me, and I should know at this point, Delaney always happens to be sick on every trip we go on. We ended up buying like an 8-pack of Kleenex on this trip because her nose was just running like crazy. So definitely worth bringing 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of these on your trip if you think you have a kiddo that might get sick. This is Haley's GoPro. She didn't use it as much on this trip as she has on other trips, but she just loves to take videos and pictures and all kinds of things, and it's just really cute to kind of hear her commentary on the trip. So I will use some of this in our home movies. Entertainment. So I brought this Uno deck of cards and we did not play it 1 single second. I've got to stop bringing like actual games because it's really hard to play games like this on a train. It's just too much chaos, things that could fly everywhere, and we don't play them. So note to self, don't bring games next time. This is my other entertainment pack though, which has these coloring kits in it, and it has our packs of mini magnet tiles. We did use the magnet tiles many times at many different pubs, and they were so perfect for the girls to play with. And we used 3 of the 4 of the coloring kits. So we know what we use and what we don't use on this trip, and we did a good job with this. And then in here is all of our camera accessories, our big camera, as well as the extra GoPro battery and the charger, and the attachments for our main video camera that we have a tripod attachment for. And we did use the nice camera, especially at the Cliffs of Moher. I think if we had done more things outside of the city, we would have used the nicer camera a little bit more, but we did use the GoPro charger. But I have no regrets in bringing all of this. This camera is pretty heavy, but big regret. We had it at the sheep farm that we went to where we met the baby sheep, and I didn't take any pictures there. That would have been the perfect place to use it. So pretty upset about that, but I'm glad that I brought the camera. And then the only thing that's left in here is some extra meat stick snacks. Haley did read with Andrew every single night. They are in the middle of reading the Chronicles of Narnia series, and they read pretty much every night. So we are glad that we brought a book for her to read. And something I didn't talk about in my pack with me that I've started having when we travel is bringing a Sharpie with me. There isn't necessarily a specific purpose that I use it for, but I have noticed that I've wanted or have used it on the last couple of trips. So Sharpie might not be a bad thing to throw into your bag. So I think that sums it up for my backpack. I'm still loving this style of backpack for travel. It's really big, it fits a lot of stuff, and it's just worked out really well for us. So that is everything that is in my backpack. And now let's get into the suitcases. This one is primarily the stuff for the girls. So let's take a peek in here. So full confession, I did open it up last night and take some stuff out because obviously we have to live life. But in here to start with is all of their sweaters and sweatshirts. They wore every single thing that was in here and multiple times. So I think we did good on that front. Their rain shoes were perfect. And they were also really good, like shoes like this for the Cliffs of Moher, like walking around and hiking. These we have for Haley, and then we have boots like this for Delaney, and I'm glad that we had a backup pair of shoes. And then lastly is all of their clothes. Again, I will pop up a video of it actually hanging up in our apartment, but I love this packing cube. It is very nice, very helpful. I also feel like it really cuts down on the mess and helps keep me organized while we're on the trip, especially with going to multiple locations, like having to pack all our stuff up. As long as I put the dirty clothes back in it after the day, it just keeps everything organized, but also separate. So it is just super great. It just rolls up into this really nice size. I did mention in the Pack With Me video that the different compartments in there are not super big. So as the girls get bigger, they honestly might need to get their own, but it is a really great organization system and I'm very much loving it. And the only other thing that was in this suitcase were their monitors and their sound machines, which we obviously used throughout the whole trip and we had no issues with. So everything in this suitcase worked out really well. All right, now let's jump into my suitcase. Before I jump into the suitcase, I did not end up expanding it. It is an expandable suitcase. Probably could have, but I didn't really need to. All right, so just a note in our Pack With Me video, I had mentioned that I had one of our compression packing cubes in here and we did end up using that. I'll get to that in just a second, but I'm very glad that I brought a spare of those. And then in here, I actually ended up putting my cord organizer in here on the way home. It makes my backpack just a little bit wider and I have a hard enough time fitting it under the seat in front of me as it is. So I just went ahead and put this in here. Bean boots, I wore these probably half of the days that we were there. Very glad to have an extra pair of shoes, a pair of waterproof shoes, and a taller shoe on the days where it was really windy and cold. It helped keep my legs a little bit warmer, so glad that I brought these. My travel purse, used this pretty much every single day. This is just a really great purse. I got it on sale at Target. It has like straps you supposedly can't cut and the zippers can lock if that gives you peace of mind, but I just also generally like the size of this purse. It's perfect for what we need right now for the girls, so very glad I brought this. And here are my sweaters and sweatshirt. for the trip. I didn't really love the ones I brought, just being honest, style-wise, but I felt like having 2 was more than enough. And I will get a little bit more into why that is in a second. And then last thing in here is my clothes, and I will put a picture up on the screen again, but if you didn't watch my Pack With Me video, I tried the Sudoku method of packing for this trip. So you have 9 pieces of clothing and they all mix and match together, and I think that worked out well. I mean, I mostly just had plain t-shirts and jeans, so obviously that's all mix and match together fine, but I wore every single thing that I brought. This is probably the most organized that I've been on this trip. We did do laundry twice on the trip, mostly for the girls, but we threw stuff in too, and I felt like that went really well. So that is all the stuff that is in my suitcase. Okay, final suitcase. This is the last minute addition for the trip. We were just gonna try to pack in 2, and then we had a couple of last minute things that we were throwing in, and it would have just been very stressful to try and squeeze everything in its own little space, and we've done that plenty of times before, and we obviously paid for plane tickets on the plane. We are able to bring 4 suitcases, but we only bring usually 2. That we figured might as well bring a 3rd suitcase, and we didn't have any issue with that. One thing I will talk about, because I was talking with a friend about it, is that when we are walking with suitcases through train stations, through airports, usually one of us has 1 suitcase and is really focusing on 1 kid, and the other one of us, we push the suitcases together like this. You can hold them with 1 hand if you put them back to back, and if they have, as long as they have quality wheels on them, I can hold this with 1 hand and I can hold another kid's hand this way, and I've had no problems navigating airports like this. So just if you're trying to do carry-on and you don't know how you possibly navigate with multiple suitcases and multiple kids, we have not had any issues with it. So, all right, let's jump in here. All right, so toothbrushes, we got some rocks from, I think, the Cliffs of Moher. And then on this side, I have my over-the-seat eye mask. I don't know, you maybe can see in these pictures in here. It attaches to this airplane seat with these buckles here, and then you Velcro this eye mask over your eyes. I realize I've had it in the carrying bag, and if you've heard me complain about that, it does take up a lot of space when it's in the bag, but if you lay it flat, it doesn't take up quite as much room, and I did sleep probably close to 2 hours with this on the plane. It is very helpful to kind of have your head attached to the seat so your head isn't bouncing all around. So overall, I'm very glad that I brought this on the trip. A sound machine for Andrew and I. My raincoat, obviously wore it all the time. It's Ireland, it's gonna rain. This packs down super nicely. It's not a super heavy coat, but it's perfect for those rain showers. We also have some raincoats, Delaney's raincoat in here. Haley's winter coat kind of has a raincoat shell built into it, so we didn't bring a separate coat for her, but we did have Delaney wear her coat. My travel straightener, still going strong all these years later. Outlet converters we used all the time. And then this is my compression packing cube. As you can see, I've kind of pushed all of the air out of this. And the reason why I'm so glad that we had this packing cube is because we bought some Ireland sweaters. We had a super cute poncho for Haley, and then I got a sweater. Andrew also got a sweater, but he ended up wearing his on the plane ride home. So that is why it wasn't a big deal that I only had 2 sweaters, because I had this other one that I bought. But they are pretty bulky sweaters, so to be able to squish them down and suck out some of the air in here was very helpful. And then the last couple of things on this side are our beanies, which we probably could have gotten away without them. And I was really thinking 2 days ago that these were gonna be a big regret, but it did get very cold on our last day in Dublin. And I know the girls were really glad to have their beanies. I wore mine once because I really wanted to, but it really wasn't that cold or that windy. So didn't really need them, but it was nice to have them on that last day. Got a couple of pull-ups left, but I think we brought enough. And then we got some more souvenirs. Peppa goes to Ireland. And then these are the last 2 things that I really did want to talk about, and that is we bought the Bubble Bum inflatable booster seats for riding in taxis with the girls, and these things are actually really nice. It takes maybe 3, maybe 4 breaths to blow them up. The actual valve to blow them up is very easy to use. They're lightweight enough that the girls can hold onto the booster seat until we get them into the car, and we had no trouble just clicking them right in when we were trying to get into a taxi in a very quick transition situation. So these worked out really well. We did only use them on 1 day of the trip, so it does take up a lot of space for something like that. But if you are on a trip where you are road tripping the whole time and you don't want to bring their whole the hard booster seats or anything like that, these things I think are really excellent. So I'm looking forward to see how we use them in the future, but I am glad that we bought them, and I think they've earned all of the good reviews that they have on Amazon. And then the last thing I want to talk about is my phone tripod. I did not use it at all. Do I regret bringing it? Not really, because it really doesn't take up that much space. It's very slim and it kind of fits into some of the nooks and crannies in the suitcase. So didn't use it, but it's fine that we brought it. And real quick, while I'm packing up the rest of this stuff, the one thing that I didn't bring that I really wish that I'd had or bought along the way on the trip was some baby wipes. So even if your kids aren't in diapers anymore, baby wipes are always a good idea to have when you're traveling with kids. Okay, so this is everything that we brought on our 7-day trip to Ireland with our 2 girls. And if I haven't mentioned it yet, our girls are 3 and 6. So they are growing up very fast and they definitely don't need as much as they used to, but in a lot of ways they are still little and they need a lot of things. And I hope that this video was helpful for you to see what we brought, what we are glad we had, what we thought was useful, and the stuff that was just kind of a waste of space. So if you have any other questions about anything that I talked about in this video, please leave a comment below, or you can always send me a message over on Instagram @explore. And if you did find this video helpful in preparing for your next family trip, I hope that you give it a like. And if you want to follow along for more of our family travel content, family travel tips, family travel inspiration, please make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you can get notified when we post new videos. And kind of like I already mentioned, we do have Instagram and Facebook @explore. Check out all of our behind the scenes adventures over there, and we will catch you in the next one.